Hi, I'm Jimmy. In this video, we're looking at leveraged ETFs, single stock leveraged ETFs in particular. So you might have seen something like a NVIDIA 3 times leveraged ETF or a Tesla 2 times leveraged ETF. Well, in this video, we're going to look at those types of investments, whether or not they're actually good investments, where they could hurt us and how they could do well. Let's say we have a lot of confidence in a company. Is this an investment we should consider? Now, I actually did a video on this general topic a while back, but we kept running into issues with Google with it or with YouTube with it. So I'm going to let me from about 9 months ago take over, and you'll see he doesn't have a broken collarbone. I broke my collarbone in a hockey game. Apologize for this. But he doesn't have one. So you'll see previous me will take over. So you'll notice that some of the prices are different. Like we're using Tesla as an example. So it's Tesla's price from like 9 months ago, but it's really irrelevant. It's more the concept that we're after. Are these good investments? And then we'll walk into where they could be good investments. So I'll let previous me take over now. Basically, they are exactly what they sound like. You buy this ETF and you're not investing in a diversified ETF. You're investing in a company, in an ETF that owns one company, but it's leveraged. It could be 2 times leveraged, 3 times leveraged. It could be short leveraged. Here are some examples of some different leveraged ETFs that are currently out there. By the way, this type of ETF is rapidly growing. There's more and more of these coming to market every day. And some of them are taking on big money. So let's look quickly at how these work. Then we'll jump into, are they a good investment? Let's pretend we've done the research and we really like one of these companies. Are they in fact a good investment, or is it just straight up gambling? Okay, for that, let's get a quick understanding of how these things work. Where do they get their leverage from? So basically, we take the fund, we have the core fund, and what's interesting about this is, let's say we're looking at the Tesla leveraged ETF. Well, the Tesla leveraged ETF will generally not own much stock at all. A lot of them don't own any stock, and if they do own some stock, it's just a very small piece of their broader portfolio. Generally, where they're getting their leverage from is usually from an investment bank. So basically, what they do is they set up an agreement with that bank, a swap agreement. Essentially, a swap agreement is essentially a contract where the bank says, we will match the kind of leverage you need. So if this is a 2 times leveraged Tesla ETF, well, for whatever percentage Tesla is up for the day, we will give you 2 times that. Whatever percentage they are down for the day, we will give you 2 times that. Now, as far as the bank is concerned, well, the bank might actually buy the underlying stock, maybe double it if they need to. They might secure it with options. They might secure it with other swaps through other banks. There's a lot of ways that banks can do it. But basically, all this is a contract between the fund and the investment bank. That contract is how they're able to get the leverage. Now, because at the end of the day, this is leverage, well, the bank is going to charge them interest. So the fund will have to pay some interest to the investment bank. Now, usually this is something like SOFR, which is what replaced LIBOR. It's like SOFR plus, let's say, 25 basis points, so 50 basis points. So it's a few percentage points on an annual basis, but generally not so much. It's not like they're charging criminal rates. It's not like they're charging, 18% or credit card rates or something like that. They're usually charging whatever the market rate is, plus a little bit of a premium. But here's the trick to this. This is daily leverage. So at the end of each day, the leverage resets. The swap resets. Now, this is real important to think about because it affects the numbers long term. It can seriously affect the numbers long term. And to see an actual example of this, let's look at Tesla. So Tesla, on the day I'm shooting this video, is down 0.92%. Forget the dollar amount, just think about the percentage amount. So 0.92% is what they're down. And if we owned the 2 times leveraged stock ETF, well, as we might expect, our leveraged ETF is down double that. It's double the 0.92. So that's 1.84% down. This is exactly what we expect. Now, over on the Investors Grow website, we actually have a section for ETFs. So if you plug in an ETF into the website, you can look at different things. What are their holdings? What sectors are they invested in? How's their performance? What are their fees? Things like that. If you're curious, this particular leveraged ETF fee, this 2 times leveraged Tesla stock ETF fee, charges 95 basis points. So just short of 1%. That's a high fee relative to something like the S&P 500 VOO, which is like 3 basis points. This is 95. So it's a high fee, but still it's about 1%. And if we look at the arrangement of their holdings here, you can see they're mostly swaps. Now, this particular ETF does own some stock. Now, again, this will reset each day. They do own some stock, but in general, they mostly own different swaps, which is exactly what we would expect. Now, again, those swaps are there to guarantee that on any given day, they will get double the percentage move in the underlying stock. So if it's up 1%, the 2 times leverage will get up 2%. If it's down 1, it'll get down 2. Really that simple. So let's pretend we were interested in this ETF or this stock a few years ago. And we jumped in and we bought it 3 years ago. By the way, these types of ETFs really didn't become available until just a couple of years ago. I think 2022, maybe 2021. I want to say 2022, though, was the earliest that these single stock ETFs were available in the US. They were available over in Europe before that, but in the US, in London, they were available. But in the US, I think it was 2022. Either way, past few years, here is Tesla stock. Tesla stock is up about 80% over the past 3 years. This is a 3-year chart going back to about the start of October of 2022. So you got about 3 years here. And during this time period, you can see they're up 80%. On an annualized basis, it's just short of 22%. So over the past 3 years, the stock has done fairly well. Now, before we jump over and look at the leveraged ETF, if we had to guess, well, the most logical guess is this stock, the leveraged ETF, would be up double that. Double that, this is 80%, so 160%. Now, minus the 1% fee that they're charging each year, there's a 3-year chart, so 3 years, 3%. We'll knock that 3% off. What are we up now? Instead of 160, we're up 157. Call it 155. Minus the cost of leverage. Let's pretend that's been 5% a year. You know what? Call it 10% a year. This thing should be up about 130, 140%, 120%. Well, when we jump over and look at the actual performance of the ETF itself, it is not even close. It is up 22%. This is the exact same time period. October of 2022, the start of October, through the making of this video. And this 2 times leveraged ETF is up 22%. Just to have a comparison point on screen, we can see what Tesla, the underlying stock, did and what this leveraged ETF did. They're not even close to each other. Now, I'd love to say that this is all happening because of all the fees that they're charging and the cost of interest and all of that, but it's actually much simpler than that. So to understand it, let's clear this screen a bit, and we're going to start with $100, right? We'll run through a quick example. And with that $100, we're going to invest in 2 different investments. We're going to invest in both Tesla and the Tesla 2 times ETF. Now, day one, kind of a bad day that day. Well, Tesla stock drops on down to $90. Okay, this makes sense. Well, unfortunately, the Tesla 2 times ETF does the same thing, but double. So instead of being down 10%, it's down 20%. Well, their stock doesn't drop to 90, obviously, but it's down 20% from 100. So they're down to 80. Okay, now it's not too bad because the next day, Tesla's a volatile stock. The next day, Tesla's stock is up, by coincidence, 11.11%, which, by the way, if you're curious, if you drop 10%, you need 11.11% to get you back to break even. So it dropped 10, increased 11.11, down. Now it's back to break even. So if we bought the underlying stock, we're good. Okay, now how about the Tesla 2 times ETF? Well, that's not up 11.11. Well, when we see that, well, that's up 22.22. Great. Except for when we do that math, 22.22 on top of the 80 does not get them back to break even. they are a few percentage points short. Now, if this just kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, up and down and up and down and up and down over any period of time, this stock is going to get absolutely killed. So while it is true that in a single given day, the two will match each other, the fact that they reset at the end of the day is often presented as a positive thing, that it resets each day and the interest doesn't carry over from day to day and all of that stuff. But it is, in fact, a largely negative thing. If these were long-term ETFs, well, then the 3-year performance that we saw, you would have doubled that if it was a 3-year swap. But they're not. They're daily swaps, and you kill the power of compounding because it doesn't build off of the original base. It resets each day. And this is extraordinarily dangerous. So, are these good investments? Well, where they could be a decent investment is if you have really high confidence in the real short-term window. If you think over the next week, this stock's going to be up, well, this is the way to juice up your returns by jumping in and buying these. But if you think that over the next year, over the next 5 years, if you're a long-term investor, this is a terrible investment. Even if you're right about Tesla, going back to Tesla's performance over the past 3 years, we could be right about that stock. Stock's up 60%, performed quite well. The leveraged ETF got absolutely killed because of it. So these are not at all for long-term investors. Now, if you go to their websites, these leveraged ETFs, they will say they are trading tools. They're not long-term investment tools. I just wanted to take a moment to point out how bad they could actually be. Now, if you're curious about the Investors Grow website, sign up to access to analyze ETFs, analyze companies, things like that. I will leave a link to that in the description below. And thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.